Hey, what's up, Mythguardians? Cool Cat here with another Mythgard deck. Today we're going to be focusing on a yellow-red hard control deck inspired by Flake. I'll link his deck list in the description down below, so feel free to check that out. This deck has 0 mythics, but it does have quite a few rares, so I wouldn't consider it a budget deck exactly. But what we're looking to do here is control everything that the opponent does and really shut down their game plan, and then outvalue them with things like snakes, artifacts, and forgelings to end the game really late, almost to the point of attrition and fatigue. If you've seen my videos before, you know the drill. We're going to go over the deck list, hop into some replays with a short conclusion after. Alright, now hopping into the deck list here, we'll go ahead and go over the path and the power. For the path, we're choosing Fires of Creation. This is a very artifact-heavy deck, so we're going to get a lot of value out of these forgelings, and that +8 starting life really helps with our control plan. Lets us take a little bit more damage and hold on to our removal a little bit longer to get the most value out of it that we can. For the power, we're going to go ahead and choose Foresight, which is going to help us make sure that we don't have any dead draws, and make sure that we can draw our artifacts to get more forgelings, to draw more artifacts to get more forgelings, and so on. And then the main win condition here of the deck, it's going to be the Stretcher. It's kind of a controversial card. There was a lot of hate on it over in the alpha. If you were here for that, you might remember. It's just a really fun win condition to have, at least for a control-minded player. And then other than that, we just have a lot of good control tools in the Meso Libre to stun any big guys that come out. We have the Poxbringer to bring them down. We have our Serpent's Den to really outvalue our opponent with infinite temple snakes, along with our Olama ring, I think that's what it's pronounced, to buff up those snakes and any other minions that we do play. We don't have too many minions, about 17 of them, so we're not going to be buffing up too many, but it really helps get the most value out of our Serpent Den and Forgelings as possible. We have 2 of the Wonder Drug, which is going to save you so many times against aggro matchups, so you can gain 8 life and draw 2 cards twice if you have 7 or less life, which is going to happen pretty frequently. We have 3 of the Ignitions, which is just really good early control, 2 of the Fire Song Prodigy, which is going to give us 2 more Ignitions, and a 2/2 body on the field to help control the board a little more. We have our Shopworn Bull to filter our hand and make sure that we have good cards that we need to play. We have 2 of the Magmatars to control the board even more. Crimson Pact here to just a little bit more removal, as well as an Ichor Feast for more card draw. Extract Life, more removal and healing. It's going to help you out a lot against the bigger decks. We have 2 of the Harvesters, which is just a really good bomb to throw down, and it also has really good control effects, heals you, draws you a card. We have 2 of the Misanthropias. It's just a really efficient board clear. It'll kill anything on the board, including your own stuff, but with the Temple Snakes, they'll come right back with the Serpent's Den, and it really helps to, even if it doesn't kill the minion on their turn, it'll make them pretty much useless. It'll make them a lot smaller every turn after, so you don't really have to worry about them. And then we do have 2 of the Dragon's Teeth, which goes really well with the Stretcher. Makes your opponents and yourself draw an extra card at the start of your turn. Even though your opponent does draw an extra card, you have a lot more value in your deck than they do. So drawing an extra card for you is going to be a lot more important than them drawing an extra card. And you can actually make a lot of opponents overdraw and have to discard a lot of their cards. It's due to the Dragon's Teeth. Once you get 2 of them stacked up and they're drawing 2 extra cards per turn, a lot of opponents have a lot of trouble playing the 2 or 3 cards, or even 4 cards if you have them stacked up, that they would need to play to make sure that they don't have too many cards in their hand to have to discard at the end of their turn. So you get a lot of value out of that, whereas you don't have too much issues playing all of the cards that you would need to play. A lot of our cards are low cost. We only have 2 cards that are above 5 mana, and we only have what is that, 8 cards that are above 3 mana. So we don't have that much trouble, and it also gives us plenty of cards to burn to get our mana count up and our gem count up so that we can continue to just play a lot of cards every single turn and just outvalue our opponents. And then other than that, we have the Vicious Cycle, which is going to be extremely great removal with the Stretcher, because it'll make them draw a card, which will take more damage from the Stretcher, and just help you push your win con along a little bit more. And then we have the Maze for a little bit more card draw, and then along with that, in the mid to late game when you don't really need the card draw, it's just a really good chump blocker to protect other things like your Shopworn Bull, your Harvesters, or even your Magmatars, and just little things like that. So that's pretty much the deck list. We're going to go ahead and hop into a replay here and see how it works. Alright, so we're going to be hopping into a replay against Dino Bravo. This is a mid-gold level match, so it works very well. So first thing, I did adjust my deck list a little bit before I was running the Goliath's Web. I did find it a little underwhelming due to our lack of minions that we run in the deck, so I decided to cut that for the second Wonder Drug that I went over in the list. But that doesn't really matter too much for this game because I don't think I end up actually playing it. I think I actually use this as the first burn to play the Maze. So what I'll do, I'll burn that, play the Maze for that card draw, play it right there to block a few lanes to make sure that they don't have any rush stuff going on. They are playing red-green. And then they drop the pup there to try to stop my Maze from really getting as much value as possible, but I do have a couple of ignitions, so I'll go ahead and throw one down on it and make sure that my Maze lives another turn, possibly for another draw. And then they get the pup back for a, due to the Journey of Souls that they're running, but they burn it and then play the Fire Song Prodigy for their own ignition. Which looks like it may just go straight for our Maze, but that's fine. We'll throw down our Serpent's Den and start the value train going. And then, let's see, they kill the Maze with the Fire Song, burn their Kolobok, and they do play the Shopworn Bull, which is extremely valuable. We'll actually play our own here soon, and you'll see exactly how powerful it is. I should have probably played the Crimson Pact on it, but I just want to get my own Shopworn Bull down to start getting the value going as soon as possible. I move my snake over one so that I can generate another snake next turn, but they do end up actually just killing off my Shopworn Bull using their entire turn for it, so I'm not too upset about it. 2 cards and 3 mana is a lot of value, so I'm not too worried about them using all of those resources. We pull our Dragon's Tooth back. We'll go ahead and play our Olama Ring, and then we'll just burn the Dragon's Teeth to play our Forgeling over here for the block on the Shopworn Bull. And then we'll place a Dragon's Tooth on top with our Forgeling. So they're going to play their Firebird over here, which isn't that big of a deal, but it does have Agile, so it's going to be kind of hard to block to protect our enchantments. We'll go ahead and throw down the Dragon's Teeth so that we can play the Forgeling right in front of it, and then search for more artifacts. And then we'll get the free trade ignition onto their Bull so they can't get any more value off of it. And then right here, they'll throw down their Avenging Alpha 6/6. Kind of scary. I'm not too worried about it, though, because we have this Blast 2 along with our Magmatar, making that a really easy clear. So we'll go ahead and clear that off really quick with that Blast and the Magmatar going down. Send this snake face, and then just keep building that value train with the free 2/2 snakes every turn. And then they throw down their Magmatar to burn down our snakes. We're not too worried about it because we'll just keep getting more. They don't cost anything at all. And then what we're going to do here is burn one of these Misanthropias, play down our Stretcher and another Forgeling, and just try to keep outvaluing our opponents with this card advantage that we've been able to build up as well as keeping this board control. And our Stretcher is going to start going to work here with the Dragon's Teeth, just start burning down their health. They're going to run to Tainted and then deport our Forgeling there. It does have Ephemeral, so it's not going to be coming back into our hand. It'll just pop and die. And then they'll move over their Magnetar to try to kill our Magnetar, but we're going to get a 4-for-1 on this Magnetar, which is very great value out of it. We'll play our other Dragon's Tooth to start the stretch or burn. We're going to play our other Stretcher, and we're just going to really go to town on his health bar while he draws 3 cards per turn, taking 2 damage per card that he draws. He's going to get the ignition down on our Magnetar, which isn't that big of a deal because we have this game pretty much in the bag here. Next turn, we have lethal with our draws and our snake on board, along with the rush Poxbringer to close it out if we need it. So we'll go ahead and draw our cards, and then they'll realize we have the lethal and give up. Alright, for our second replay, we're going to be going against Siamora. This was a kind of a tougher match, which is why I wanted to feature it to show really what this deck is capable of. We'll start with a lot of the key players in our hands. 3 of our Serpent Dens, our Stretcher, our Poxbringer, and then our Harvester pulled off the top. We'll burn the Harvester, throw down the Maze for some more early protection against any Red Rush strategies. And also just some card draws. So they burn a red and a purple. So their red and purple is usually an aggro combination, but we'll see exactly what they bring to the table. We'll go ahead and draw and then throw down Maze number 2, get some more board protection. Now they can only attack through this right lane, which we can easily close off with one of these Serpent Dens in our hand. And then they throw down the Pit Fiend. So that's kind of scary for attack on that body. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and just Poxbringer that to keep the board under control, which is going to kill that the next turn due to the Blight. They're going to draw 2 cards from their seasons. They'll throw down the Ringmaster, which is kind of a scary thing because we don't have anything to deal with it right now. So what we will go ahead and do is draw some cards with our Maze, which may have been a misplay. It opened up that lane, but we're going to throw our Bull down to contest this Ringmaster and start filtering our hand to make sure that we're nice and safe. And they have the combo, the Ringmaster into the Cyclopean Giant, dealing 7 damage right to my face, right from hand, which isn't too big of a deal because we can just pop down this Goliath's Web. Again, I did take this card out. I didn't feel like it did enough for the deck, but it sure does come in handy right here. We're going to kill the Ringmaster, of course. We don't want that popping off. We're going to keep our Maze just in case there's any rush cards, which they do have, which the Underbelly Wyvern, which is going to save their Cyclopean Giant once more, which is kind of a scary place for us to be in here. They have a lot of damage on board. We are low on health, but we have a couple of key cards in our hand right now, so we can use this Extract Life to kill the Cyclopean Giant with exact damage, and that heals for 6, which is going to be extremely helpful because they're almost out of cards, and with their red and purple aggro strategy, it's going to be really hard for them to come back from any sort of clear. But they do play the Respawn on the Magnetar, which is pretty much just turns off these lanes for me, because once that dies, its Awaken effect will go off again and deal 3 more damage to those lanes. So we will throw down the snakes to kind of contest this Tengu, burn a card, throw down our Alama Ring to make those snakes 2/2s, and then throw down our first Forgeling right in front of that Magnetar so that we can try to preserve our life total here. They have the Rush and the Panic Raider, which is kind of scary because that does 2 damage to our face, 2 damage to our artifact, and draws them a card, which isn't what we want them to do. They play the Seafire on our Snake, which is perfectly fine. That's great value to get out of that free 2/2 for 4 mana and 1 red gem, and we'll just get it right back, so we're not too worried about it. We'll play down our Stretcher, and then burn the Dragon's Tooth because we really don't want them to get more cards, and then we'll just go ahead and clear their board here. Make sure they don't draw anything or do any more damage to us. They get their Magnetar back, but the Awaken is negated because those are some empty lanes. And then they do throw down the Shinobi of Wind. We're going to go ahead and Wonder Drug for 1 and 1 card because we really don't want to get any lower health than we have now, because with the red and purple rush strategy, they really do have a lot of damage that they can deal from hand. So we'll go ahead and block off these two. They'll throw down the Mutt-and-Morphous, which will make it a 3/3, which trades perfectly into that Shinobi of Wind. People usually only run Wind and Smoke, so I feel perfectly safe running this 3/3 into the 2/3 to get a kill on it. I'll throw down our Bull onto the Goliath's Web because it has a lot of health, which is going to make it a very, very hard minion to get rid of with the poison. But they do have the 4/1 rush, Wings of Abaddon, and that is a very scary thing with the back alley Ronin as well. So they have a lot of pressure on our board, but we just keep drawing our Meso Libres, which is going to really help contest the board with the stuns. And then we have our Fire Song as well to just ignition that 4/1 and get it out of here before it gets too out of control. Hop our Snake over to make another one, throw down our Forgeling here to help protect our face against this 6/5 in case they have any agile shenanigans. Play down our Dragon's Teeth here to make sure that they're just drawing a lot more cards to take more damage from our Stretcher. We are very good on board control right here, so we're perfectly fine with them drawing cards now. We're not too worried about it, and this is our main end game plan. And then they'll kill that Forgeling, which is going to heal up our artifacts back to full. They'll throw down this 4/4 Agile. It's kind of going to be hard to take care of with this 6/2 protecting it. It does have Lurker. And along with the Agile, it can really dance around most of our board control tools, but we do have enough to just completely take care of it and block it off, along with our Hand Filtering and our Bull, but we're just going to keep our Fire Song. And then they'll draw some more cards, take some more damage. We do have Lethal on board. They'll try to push that last bit of damage through, but we have all of our lanes covered, so we're really not too worried about it. And then with the Dashing Ringmaster play, that is pretty much GG, with the extra Stretcher draw especially, and the Vicious Cycle, double Vicious Cycle, that's game on board, in hand, on board, wherever they want it to be. We have plenty of ways to close this out, so we'll just run the Vicious Cycle with the double Stretcher for the last bit of damage, and that is it. So this game really just shows you how well this deck can control the early board. We'll do a little BM and let our Stretcher kill him at the end. But yeah, this shows really how well this deck can control the board and make sure that no little pesky guys get through, no big pesky guys, and just really, really make sure that the opponents don't have anything that they can do. So that is the deck. You control the board early, you control the board late, know when to use your removal and when to hold your removal, when to use your heals, your wonder drugs. Sometimes it is the right play to heal for 4 and draw 1 card instead of waiting for that doubled effect. But again, shout out to Flake. His deck list is going to be in the description down below, along with mine, for easy importing. But like if you like, subscribe for more MythGARD content, and remember, GG for Matt.